Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 7, and this is going to be my trailer breakdown for Episode 8, otherwise known as the mid-season finale for this season, otherwise entitled Unmasked. But of course, before we get into the rest of the video, let's actually watch that trailer.
So what now?
I don't know. You thinking about getting back out there?
Let's hope you're not rusty.
Just a bit of advice. Probably shouldn't be shooting people your first week out of prison.
It's a good tip.
Arrow, all new this Monday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So yeah, that trailer looks quite fun, let's be honest. It looks a lot of fun. It's just a bit of a contrast, if I want to speak English properly, from the prison stuff. But speaking of the prison stuff, last episode, the big prison fight, easily the best episode of the season, it's the best episode of the season. It's the best episode in a while. I think the common, argument, but agreement that I guess a lot of people are making is that it is the best Arrow episode since the season 5 finale, Lian Yu. And I think I agree with that. You could argue maybe even it's much better than Lian Yu, and it's better than anything we've seen since maybe like season 2. You could argue that if you wanted to. It's the best episode we've seen in a while. It was just fantastic. Everything done in that episode. I think it's a 10 out of 10 in my personal opinion. But obviously, at the end of the episode, Oliver finally got released from prison. So Oliver's out, and he can go have a big belly burger. He hasn't had one of them in a while, I'm sure. So of course, this episode is essentially just going to be, Oliver getting back to that normal way of life, if you want to call it. But speaking of this episode, let's go over the synopsis for this episode before we jump into the actual breakdown of the trailer, as the synopsis does give us a bit of a, better idea as to what's going on throughout the episode. But of course, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below what are you looking forward to most in this episode. Just let me know in the comment section down below just all your overall thoughts on the trailer. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it to show your support for Arrow, and if you're looking forward to this episode. Felicity stands by her recent decisions regarding her family. Meanwhile, Diggle and Lila continue to look into the Dante painting that Curtis found. So we start off the trailer by saying Oliver and the gang, I think we see Diaz, not Diaz, sorry, that'd be awkward. We see Dinah, Renee, and Diggle and Lila there. So there's this sort of a gala sort of event thing. Now, Oliver is looking like a preppy rich boy here, like he was when he would have been growing up. Stephen Amell did talk in an interview about Oliver post-prison. We'll leave a link in the description down below for those that are interested. But essentially, they were talking about how, I think Stephen went to the wardrobe department and sort of requested that Oliver go back to maybe, he's 30 years old. He's not, in his mid-20s now. So he's in his mid-30s going on late 30s now. So maybe he should sort of dress like that. Maybe dress a bit, upbeat and a bit more fancier. He was a former mayor of Star City, so maybe he should start dressing like that. Like a former politician. So that's, I see a change in Oliver's wardrobe from what we're used to in this season. And that's sort of an explanation. It's basically an evolution of Oliver's character almost. But I'm sure that anything that was served at this gala sort of event, food-wise, must have been 114.7% better than any of the stuff in prison. I mean, I only think I saw one thing in prison that I'd probably eat, and it was a fruit cup. And I was like, yeah, that looks actually like a half-decent fruit cup. But that was about it. Everything else on there, I was I think they got some chicken, and it honestly looked like a chewed up shoe. It looked really weird, so I wouldn't be eating any of that. So Oliver must just be over the moon just to eat anything that isn't overly processed. But we do see Oliver suiting up again, but with one massive difference: without the hood or the mask. So some would say that he is, unmasked. Now, everyone knows he is the Green Arrow, so, I guess there's no reason for him to wear the hood and the mask, but we do have the fake Green Arrow out there, or the new Green Arrow, whatever you want to call them, so he could just pretend that it's them doing what he is doing, so he could go around with the hood and the mask, take out some criminals, and then if someone comes to him and be like, no, didn't you see that? I was in prison when that new Green Arrow came out. It's just them doing all this stuff, so he could go with that charade if he wanted to. But I guess one thing that is a possibility, and I have seen a couple of people mention this, and I did get in a discussion with some people about this as well, is that Oliver could possibly be working with Argus, and there's a partnership with Argus as well as maybe the SCPD in order to just deal with stuff throughout Star City. And also, this would make sense because then it would explain why, in the Elseworlds crossover, when Barry becomes Oliver, that he's training with Diggle in Argus. So if you look at that promo in the background, they're actually in Argus, and that'd be weird if that was just disconnected and didn't line up with what we're seeing on the show at the moment. Because if you look at the trailer that came out most recently, Diggle has the Green Arrow suit and slams it into Barry as Oliver's chest, and they're still in Argus. So it looks like Argus, or a part of Argus, will essentially become the new Arrow sort of bunker. That's what it almost seems like what's happening here. So that would mean that Oliver doesn't necessarily have to conceal his identity, seeing that he is an agent of Argus. It's a good premise. It's just going to be interesting to see how it plays out, whether it's in a short-term thing or a long-term thing. It's just going to be interesting to watch, and I think it's just going to be a bit of a change, but, you know, I'm still intrigued. Let's hope you're not rusty. Now, that was said by Dinah. Now, Dinah, look, love, like, Oliver doesn't get rusty. He is a walking can of WD-40. Doesn't get rusty at all, no squeaking. Show some bloody respect. Now, we do see Oliver back to some badass Green Arrow kickassery, if that's the best term to use, but it is weird with him fighting randoms without the hood on. Like, it's definitely going to be a bit of a change. I know we haven't seen him fight as Green Arrow for a while, but it's still going to be weird seeing him fight with bow and arrow and just, you know, all that stuff without the hood on. Like, I guess the last time we really saw this was in the season 5 finale on Lian Yu. We've already mentioned that before because it was like one of the better episodes before the last one. But on that finale, obviously he was on Lian Yu in the Green Arrow suit, but with his hood off and his hood down and no mask and stuff. So this is, I think, probably the first time since then that we've seen that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Now, we do see Oliver fighting here. Now, I'm 99% sure that he is in the Poison nightclub here, which is actually owned by Max Fuller. Now, I bring up Max Fuller again, as apparently he will be appearing in this episode after only being in one episode previously, back in Season 1, and that was Episode 3 of Season 1. Now, for those that have, like, decent memories, Max Fuller is the guy that's, had his fiancée, and Oliver slept with his fiancée, which definitely had Max Fuller, sort of triggered. But then this is when, like, Laurel stepped in and stopped Oliver and Tommy. Well, let's be completely honest here. She stopped Tommy from getting beaten up by some goons. So I'm guessing the Poison nightclub could be, like, getting used as, like, an avenue for drugs or something along those lines. Or it could be anything random, but it could be connected to that, and that's maybe why Oliver's going in here. We'll have to wait and find out. Now, as I said before, in this episode, we're probably going to see Oliver dealing with, like, normal life after prison. So I guess, like, one of the big things is, like, will there be issues? Like, will he maybe not have, like, post-traumatic stress or anything of the situation in prison, but will he just, like, be trying to get used to normal life again? You have to think so, but I just wonder if there'll be a focus on that in the show, or if it's just not necessarily skimmed over, but just, like, put as, like, a minor thing throughout the episode. That's going to be interesting. I think it's more going to be, like, just him getting used to being the Green Arrow again and just, dealing with also the stuff that might have scarred him mentally from prison. Like, Oliver's a strong dude, but he was in prison for a while. We skipped over a lot of his time in prison. So you'd have to think there's some sort of long-lasting effects, and I'm interested to see how the show deals with that. Now, obviously, the episode is called Unmasked. Now, it could easily be referring to the fact that Oliver's walking around without a hood and the mask on, which would make him unmasked. However, I feel that the episode title is a double entendre, where essentially it's about Oliver, but also it's going to feature the unmasking of the new Green Arrow. Now, yes, most of us know who it is by now. Once again, if you want to find out, you can go to the comments. I'm sure someone will write it down there as to who this new Green Arrow is. If you're one of those people that know, feel free to comment it down there so people can see. Now, the person who is playing the new Green Arrow, most likely, there is like a 2% chance that this person is not the new Green Arrow. However, there's a lot of evidence that points towards it. Anyway, the actor that plays this new Green Arrow started filming around the time of this episode's filming. So you'd have to think this is the episode they'll show up in first. Now, Oliver will apparently run into the new Green Arrow's operations fairly on into this episode. Not necessarily the new Green Arrow themselves, but, their operations and just some evidence of them being there. Now, I think in this episode, we'll most likely see Oliver run into them, and maybe the new Green Arrow reveals themselves to Oliver because, obviously, Oliver's the inspiration for what they're doing right now. And it might be Oliver that is like the only one that knows of this person's identity. Maybe just in this episode, and then maybe in episode 10, which is the mid-season premiere, which will air in like late January, the rest of the team will find out, but this person is, well, I think it's more important that Oliver finds out before anyone else, and maybe that Oliver deals with this new information before anyone else. So that's how I think it might play out. This person will reveal themselves to Oliver, and then maybe there could be a bit of a wait before other people find out. Now, obviously, one of the other side stories going on in this episode, as the synopsis does say, is that Curtis, I guess, Diggle and Lila will be looking more into that Dante painting. Now, some people, including myself, have been saying that it could be connected to the Ninth Circle, because the Ninth Circle's leader in the comics is called Dante. They have like a heavy focus on the fact that it's Dante. So you know, the Ninth Circle could be the big bad for the season, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, we know Diaz isn't dead. He's still alive. For people that are confused, he is alive. That's why Oliver locked the cell after they fought. It's because Diaz wasn't dead. He was going to eventually get up. So that's why Oliver closed the cell. So we still have Diaz alive along with the Longbow Hunters. Then we have potentially the Ninth Circle and whatever Argus is investigating. Then we also have Stanley, who killed Brick and left prison and has escaped. He's out there. We know he is not normal. He's definitely a bit of a psychopath. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it is, I think, going to be hard to predict who is necessarily the big bad of the season. And I'm not expecting to really find out until like maybe halfway through the back half of the season. Like, they could really have a lot of stuff going on. And it's just going to keep us guessing, or it could be a couple of things put together, or maybe there might not even be a big bad. There just could be a lot of things going on that everyone has to deal with. But I can't wait to see what they do with Stanley, because they really did paint him as like this, I wouldn't say innocent, because he was in prison, so he must have got himself at least tied up with some bad people that would lead to him getting to prison. But, you know, he's taken a big turn in the past couple of episodes. He's now, you know, murdering a guard and then murdering Brick, and we know that he's murdered people on the outside as well. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with him outside of prison as well. It doesn't seem like they're going to do what they did with him, what they did with the Stanley Dover character in the comics, who is essentially a serial child murderer and like sacrificed children for like magical sort of, or like, yeah, sort of like cult type reasons. So I don't think they're going to do that, because that could be a bit grim, especially for the time slot that Arrow's in. But I think they might just make him like a serial killer for people that maybe deserve it, but it's still, you know, do they really deserve to die in other people's eyes? Just in Stanley's eyes, they deserve to die. So we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. It's interesting, and Arrow, it keeps going from strength to strength. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like in the video to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on this trailer, what you're looking forward to the most. And yeah, just give me all of those opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.